Hello, my name is Audrey Cunningham, and the purpose of this film is to document my progress in training my second species for the Karen Pryor dog training course. And this is my second species. This is Teal. He is a Parakeet or American Budgie if you prefer. He was purchased by me a couple months ago from our local Petco. He is a young bird. He's just going through his first molting, and I don't know if it comes across on the film, but he's just starting to lose the rest of his bands just above his nose. So he's becoming a big boy. Basically, we spent a good month and a half getting to know each other, and we've learned a lot about Teal. Let's see. Let me think. Oh, first of all, foods. Yes, this has been very interesting. I thought I was a finicky eater when I was a kid, but Teal much more so. There are very few foods that he likes. Actually, just one. See, the problem is that the only thing he seems to really get excited about eating is millet spray. And, of course, if you're into birds, you may know that millet spray isn't very nutritionally balanced as this whole diet. We're working on that, trying to get him to expand his palate, but in terms of foods that we can use for training and treats, we're pretty much limited to millet spray at this point. Let's see, also toys, interestingly enough. Teal isn't much interested in very many toys, except, thankfully, toys with bells, and particularly bells with beads on them. My nose, this is actually mirror, but I never really worry about how it's oriented because the only thing he plays with is the bell at the end. And sometimes he'll nibble on the beads, but he really doesn't care about his reflection. Also see up here we have a nice little swing form that has those cute little beads hanging out of it. He loves that. That's probably his favorite toy. You see another variety. You know, it's a popular thing. However, he is a very timid bird. Even when it's a toy that fits the guidelines for a sort of thing that he enjoys, this little chandelier, for example. It'll take him several days to even be willing to be on the same level with it, or half of the cage. Now, after this has been in there for about a week, he's willing to walk past it but not touch it. I expect if this chandelier follows the same pattern as his other toys, probably in a few days he'll actually begin to touch it, and then he won't be able to stop playing with it. But anyway, his playing, unfortunately, depends on his mood. So toys aren't consistently reinforcing enough to be able to be a primary reinforcer for a clicker training. Kind of going along with the idea of timid, we found out that from our getting to know you phase, that Teal finds a number of sounds, particularly loud sounds and low frequency sounds, rather startling. He does best with soft sounds and with high frequency sounds. So I'm using a soft clicker for our training, and I'm going to be using a high-pitched ping as a cue for our behavior, since I'm not sure that he can clearly distinguish words at this point. Let's see, what else? Light changes, he's very sensitive to. Experimented with flashlights, laser pointers. Not terribly keen on that idea. First time I flashed something at him, he exploded and wouldn't come out from the bottom of his cage for several minutes. So that's not going to be an adequate cue. He's also very sensitive to movement, even moderately slow movement. So this has been somewhat difficult in terms of figuring out how to deliver the reinforcer. This, for anybody who's not familiar with it, let's see if we can get in focus, is millet spray. As you can see, it's somewhat unwieldy and rather wiggling, so it's difficult to deliver in a timely fashion. Say we give the click, it's rather difficult, see if I can do this and film at the same time, to get it up there in a controlled manner. You see it bounces around. So I found that rather cumbersome. He's also very reluctant to come to it, so in the interest of time, and decreasing the time between the click and delivery of the reinforcer, I really want to be able to bring the reinforcer directly to him. So, we invented the treat stick, as I like to call it. Basically what this is, if we can get into focus, is a chopstick. And as we can see, at the end we have attached a binder clip, and at the end of that binder clip, let's see, Can we get that in focus? Anyway, there we go. At the end of that binder clip, we have a little tiny bit of millet spray. And this makes the delivery much more effective. I can control this. So see if we can get it. I can bring it straight up to his face. You can pick off a bit and straight back out again. So this was very effective in terms of decreasing time between the click and delivery as a reinforcer. However, Teal being very reluctant to get to know any new object, it did take quite a bit of time for him to get used to this little device. I left it in the cage with him for a day, and then basically took a week of just regularly presenting the stick to him and letting him look at it and think about it until eventually, after about a week, after several sessions a day, he did finally break down and start eating the millet spray from the stick. And once he stopped showing any sort of hesitation taking the food from the stick, we began doing our training regimen. Now, our target behavior is to get Teal to dance on cue. And basically, how I define dance is to move back and forth, or really, frankly, at this point, I just take moving, his feet in any way, shape, or form to the cue. Now, we're at the stage where we have been spending about a week, one training session a day, capturing any foot movement. Now, I'd like to do more training sessions a day, but Teal, being the timid bird that he is, and not quite hand tame yet, needs to be fairly hungry in order to be willing to break down and take the treat in a timely manner. So what I tend to do, as you can see, this is where his food normally goes. I take it away for several hours, and having his food removed for several hours tends to make him hungry enough that, as you can see, that's his customary training perch. Now he's getting excited, and you can see he's hungry and he wants his reinforcer. So now he's ready to go. So we're up at this point of getting approximately 20 clicks per minute. So he seems a little confused by the camera, so I don't know if we'll quite get up to that on camera, but we're going to see how we do. And if this goes well, we'll see if we can't work on introducing the cue for the first time on film. So what I'm going to do is any foot movement I'm going to click. He's looking at the camera. Okay, that was actually pretty good. We started out, our baseline was about 1 click per minute. He's generally a fairly sedentary bird, so obviously we're getting a lot more responses, and I believe that we are probably ready to start adding the cue.